Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, I know this one's been out for a couple of months now. I think this one was announced at the Black Friday sale for Vinegar Syndrome, but I had to give my thoughts on just another absolute banging Vinegar Syndrome release, Freeway on 4K. So I'm going to talk about this one today. We're going to talk about the transfer and the movie and all that good stuff. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. This is your first time discovering me here on YouTube. This is what we do here, guys. We talk about Blu-rays, we talk about 4Ks, we talk about physical media, that kind of thing. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the like button, and then comment down below, guys, what's your thoughts on Freeway. So this is the first time that this has been put out on 4K or Blu-ray. This has not been put out since DVD. And Vinegar Syndrome's been doing that kind of stuff, like Sidekicks getting ready to come out, hasn't been put out since VHS. So just really cool work that Vinegar Syndrome's doing right now. So I wanted to highlight it yet again here. I feel like I've been gushing about Vinegar Syndrome for the past few months. And let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm going to talk about the actual transfer itself first. And this is a native 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negative, and it has HDR10. So no Dolby Vision, but it does have HDR10. And this is, like I said, the first time this movie has been released since the DVD era. And overall, guys, look, I said it in the opening, this is a banging release by Vinegar Syndrome. And I have to say, like, they continue to impress me with their picture quality. Like, Vinegar Syndrome has it figured out. They really have it figured out as far as like 4K restorations. And I feel like they're up there in the same level, at the same level as Arrow Video is. Maybe even have surpassed them a little bit. I don't know if I'm quite prepared to say that yet, because I haven't seen enough from them, and I've seen way more Arrow Video 4Ks. But I feel like Vinegar Syndrome, more so than any other label, I just feel like has really cracked into what makes a great 4K transfer. Not for the people that like the crispy, clean, clean cut 4K transfers like the new Marvel movies and stuff like that with no grain, but for the film fans. They have tapped into what makes a great 4K transfer for fans of film and film grain, because this is a beautiful picture that retains that gritty and grainy look. And that's what this movie is. It's a very gritty film, and it kind of lends itself to that heavy grain structure. And they don't get rid of any of that. They retain all of that grain in here, but it still looks extraordinary. And you can pull that off. I don't know how we've gotten to the point where we watch a 4K and if it has grain, we snub our noses up. Ew, that's nasty grain. I don't want to watch that. Like, to me, that just adds to it. That enhances it. That reminds you that you're watching an actual film with depth and actual substance to it. And that's why I love it so much. But it looks so great, and the colors in this, oh my God, the colors are absolutely fantastic. They're incredibly rich and vibrant, and I just love it. I just love it. When you see a good 4K, it reminds me of when I watched Django, Arrow Video's Django, which I hold up as the gold standard of 4Ks. Like, this gave me those kind of vibes, and this is not the first time they've done this. Like Roadhouse also as well, but they cleaned up Roadhouse just a little bit more, I think. This one, the grain is very thick. It is very thick. So if you're not a fan of that, I'm telling you right now, you may not love this, but I love it so much. And to me, it highlights those colors like even more. A great 4K transfer, guys. Absolutely fantastic. If you're on the fence, like, Vinegar Syndrome really has 4K on lock right now. They really do. So I cannot recommend this 4K transfer enough. Getting into the sound, this is a DTS HD Master Audio 2.0. Clear dialogue throughout. This is not the most flashy film, like, audio wise. Like, there's a couple of kind of set piece moments, but other than that, it's kind of a dialogue centric film. So all that stuff sounds really clean. The score sounds great mixed in with the dialogue, and the sound was awesome throughout. So no need for the 5.1, all the bells and whistles, Dolby Atmos. You don't need that with this type of film. So the 2.0 sound mix was perfectly fine with this. Getting into the packaging, I mean, we all know, like, if you purchase from Vinegar Syndrome, their packaging is top notch, and I love this right here. It's just a plain Vinegar Syndrome slipcover, but look at that. You got Kiefer Sutherland on the back, which we'll talk about this look here in a second when we talk about the film. You have Freeway embossed right here. You have Freeway embossed on the side as well. You have that Vinegar Syndrome logo right there. Now, I will say that this is probably getting ready to be available to pre-order on Amazon. So if you pre-order off of Amazon, you will not get the slipcover with it, because that is a Vinegar Syndrome exclusive, but there are still plenty of this 4K release available on the Vinegar Syndrome website. I will link that down below. But yeah, this is the regular case right here. I'll go ahead and show you the back, and I've already done like an unboxing of this on the channel, but I'll show it off again in case you didn't check out that video. You have reversible cover art here, which is the original poster art of the movie. You got Reese Witherspoon, you got Kiefer Sutherland. A little bit generic, you know, kind of makes it look like an action movie, if I'm being honest, which this movie is not, but that's what the cover kind of makes it look like, a Speed or something like that. But it's not that at all. But yeah, the packaging right there, and then you got the 2 discs inside with the Blu-ray and the 4K. Now, I will say, I don't know if anybody knew this, but this is the uncut version. You don't have the rated R version that they toned down to get it into the theaters. This is the uncut version on both discs. You don't get that R-rated cut. You only get the uncut. So I'm sure that most people will be satisfied with that. Most people want to watch the uncut version anyway. And yeah, there's some pretty gnarly scenes in this movie, so that uncut was definitely warranted with this release. I don't love the disc art here. That's just the same as the actual poster, and this is the same as the slipcover as well. But it's fine, I guess. I wish they would have done a little bit something different with it, not just did the actual like artwork, but it's hard to complain. It's still good artwork. I'm just, you know, being nitpicky here. But getting into the special features, like this is where Vinegar Syndrome is also excelling, where you have Scream Factory, you have Arrow Video, you have Criterion. They're just recycling all the same special features at this point. Vinegar Syndrome, guys, they've really tapped into what makes a special collector's edition with packaging, with special features. They added new audio commentary here with the director, Matthew Bright. They also add 6 new interviews, one of which is with the director as well. So 6 new interviews, a new audio commentary. You also get plenty of archival commentaries and featurettes as well from past releases. I imagine the past DVD. So this thing is just jam-packed, loaded with special features. And I mean, it's what we come to expect with Vinegar Syndrome. Just quality across the board in terms of packaging, special features, and all that good stuff. So lastly, guys, let's go ahead and get into the movie. So across the board, guys, features, packaging, audio, picture quality, like this is a fantastic release. But is this a movie that you want to own in the collection? Is this a good movie? That's what I'm going to answer right now. So this is the first time that I watched this film. This is from 1996, which is the same year that Reese Witherspoon actually also did Fear with Mark Wahlberg. So she did 2 like dark thriller type movies in the same year. One thing I'll say is that Fear is a little bit more traditional in the way that it's filmed and the way that the story is told and acted and performed. This one's definitely a more non-traditional, way more out there in terms of its themes and storytelling. It's definitely a lot darker. It's definitely a lot more twisted. Like you thought Mark Wahlberg was twisted and messed up in Fear. Like Kiefer Sutherland is on a whole nother level. So overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I didn't love this movie. The movie wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I was thinking it was going to lean way more into like dark thriller territory, and it is definitely a thriller, and it is dark, but it's a lot more comedic than I thought it was going to be. And a lot of that comes down to Reese Witherspoon and her character in this film. First off, Reese Witherspoon had not been acting a ton before she did this movie. I think she did a movie called like Man on the Moon is what I remember, like a very young Reese Witherspoon performance. But she was at this time really starting to do a lot of these like dark thrillers like Freeway, like Fear, like a little bit later she would do Cruel Intentions, a lot of that kind of stuff before she would dive into the more like mainstream, like poppy type movies like Legally Blonde and all the other stuff she would do after that. Sweet Home Alabama, when she became like pretty much the rom-com queen for a little bit. So she was doing some really cool, like interesting movies and performances, but I like her performance in Fear. It's a very good performance, but it's also, like I said, a very traditional, like teenage performance, very cliched. She is very different in this movie, but I think that this movie really showcases her range and just why she would become the star that she would become. She is excellent in this movie, and the character that she plays is so off from any of her other characters that I've ever seen her play in any movie. First off, she's a girl that's, I don't want to say she's dumb, because I feel like she has some street smarts for sure. She's definitely really fierce in this movie, which she has that scene with Kiefer Sutherland later on and a couple other scenes in the film. She's fierce. She's a force to be reckoned with. But intellectually, she's not the smartest. Like the movie actually opens up with her in the classroom. She doesn't know how to read. She's trying to learn how to read. And she makes a lot of dumb decisions throughout the film that she shouldn't make. And she doesn't doesn't catch on to things quite as quick as she should catch on to them. But I think that makes her character even more endearing and sympathetic. So I think that goes a long way. And then when she finally does get to fight back, it just gets you into her character and her performance and the overall story even more. And she's got some great standout moments. Like the whole movie really stands on the shoulder of Reese Witherspoon. Like I said, she just shows like she is perfectly capable in this. And the director even talks about that in the special features, Matthew Bright, where he, you know, has had some moments in his life where he has looked at like certain artists and been like, this person's really got it. And one of them that he said was Reese Witherspoon. Like when he saw her first perform, like he knew like she had something and she was going to be a huge star, and she absolutely was. So I would say like I've always really enjoyed Reese Witherspoon. This might be her best performance that I've ever seen from her, which is kind of remarkable considering how many Reese Witherspoon performances that I've seen. But it's a really good performance. Like she is excellent in this movie. And getting into Kiefer Sutherland just a little bit, he's great as well. My only complaint with him, very dark, very sinister. I love the way that he plays it. In the beginning when he hasn't like fully revealed like who he is to Reese. And I just love the way that he plays it in his performance. Very dark, very sinister, very impending doom. Like you know something's going to happen. You know something really bad is going to happen, but you don't know quite how it's going to happen. I love the way that he plays it. He's excellent. But my only complaint, like I said, is you just don't get enough time with him as a character. I wanted to spend a little bit more time with him because there's something that happens about halfway through this movie that just changes the course of the entire film. And that's kind of where I have some problems with the actual film, the actual narrative itself, because I didn't find the movie quite as interesting after that moment happens. And it kind of takes away from what I thought the premise of the movie actually was going to be. And I'm not going to spoil anything, because if you haven't seen this movie, I think that you need to watch it and kind of see that for yourself. But after that moment happens, and then you get, you know, this Kiefer Sutherland throughout the rest of the movie, I just thought that it never quite regained that momentum that it had in the first half of the film. But still an excellent movie throughout, still excellently performed and directed, and I really enjoyed the film. Overall, I would probably give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. So just getting into my overall recommendation, I would definitely recommend Freeway on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome. It's a really cool movie that I think is definitely worth checking out, but the transfer is just out of this world. Like Vinegar Syndrome is just doing some excellent work right now. Special features, top notch, like sound is great, packaging, like you can't beat them right now, guys. Like Vinegar Syndrome is on top of the world, in my opinion, and I am so excited for what they're going to do in 2023. We got Sidekicks, we got From Beyond coming up. I am super excited, guys. So yeah, definitely check this one out. It's worth it, in my opinion. But I appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on all my social media accounts down below in the description, and turn on those bell notifications, and we'll see you next time.